Let's chat.
Earlier this morning, we told you about our conversation with Garry Mac, whose mom was involved in a house that got totally demolished by the tornadoes last night. Garry Mac, good morning.
Hi, Chip. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, sir. More importantly, how is your mom?
My mom is doing well. She is physically okay, it seems, but pretty rattled after the tornado sort of crashed down on her house. And
tell us what happened exactly as you understand it.
It came quickly from everybody that I've talked to out here this morning since about 3 a.m. It was just so fast that on how it came up. For her, she was in her living room watching the television, and all of a sudden, windows of her house started blowing out. She dove to the floor and started praying and stayed right there on the floor. As you survey the interior of her house today, it's just amazing that she wasn't injured, really. And the outside just looks terrible, as do so many of the houses around here look terrible at the moment. But she said it sort of came up from behind her house and started blowing out windows. Heard the noise, she said, which is what we always heard from folks going through tornadoes, about the sound of the train, that sort of stuff. But it seems like, I don't know if you're the one to tell me. I don't know if it touched down and then bounced over, or how it was working here. But
hopefully we'll find out that official answer coming up in just a few minutes. But I did want to get to the part where you were telling us that your mom actually got carried out by the Chattanooga firefighters. Yeah,
it was, I tell you what, it was just one of those deals, because where she is where a lot of traffic is right now on Igo Gap at Gray Road, that area out in East Brainerd, and I just couldn't get to her. Nobody, it was just so difficult to get to this area because trees were down everywhere. So
sure.
Emergency vehicles first trying to get in, and then all the rest of us trying to get to family members. But it was a very difficult task and took quite some time. About 2:15, probably around 2 o'clock, I suppose, there were some firefighters, Chattanooga firefighters, and they were checking each one of the homes to see if anybody was there. And I just pointed and I said, my dear mother is in that corner house right there, and I sure wish you'd go check on her and tell her I'll be there as soon as they'll let me in, because all the power lines were down. They weren't letting us walk around. And next thing I know, I looked up, and here come these Chattanooga firemen, and they got my little sweet mama up on their back, and they're just carrying her down the street. And they bring her to me, and boy, that was just a nice moment.
And your mom is 93 years young, correct?
Yeah, just turned 93. Yeah, and doesn't weigh a lot. So I mean, it wasn't like he probably carries oxygen tanks way more than her. But at that moment, that was just a great moment to see them trucking down the street with her on their back, and they got her to me. And I'm just ever so grateful to them, and to the young lady from 911, Chip. They got just clobbered with phone calls, and,
right.
And I know Chief Roddy's asking people not to call unless it's absolutely an emergency. But at that moment, at 1:30, 1:45 in the morning, it felt like an emergency to me. But the fact that 911 followed up with me this morning about 5:30, I guess I get a call going, "Hey, making sure, did everybody get to where they were supposed to get? Did you get your mom? Did you get?" And I was just very impressed by the whole process. And
obviously, it's been an emotional stretch for you since all this happened. If you could gather that same firefighting team back together in one room, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm going to find them. I managed, these days everybody's always got a camera going, right? And at the very last second, I thought, I need to take a picture of these guys just so I know so I can track them down, and I will. But what a wonderful service they gave, and they were going door to door and checking all the homes out here and making sure, because some of them are pretty obliterated, really, and there was fear that there were people trapped in some of these, and I know that some people did get carried away in ambulances. I don't know. One of the neighbors down the street, I know he got hit in the head with a flying brick, and he's in the hospital right now. So
you skirted the question, Garry. What would you say to the firefighters right now?
Oh, the firefighters! Just what a great job you do, and they're they're a blessing, really, that they will get out in the middle of all the mess that's going on and all the tornado activity that was happening to really put themselves out there for all the citizens. And it was just a big thank you, just a huge thank you.
Yep.
For taking care of her. She was there for a couple of hours just in the dark waiting on somebody to come get her, and they did. And that was a great gift.
And a big hug, even though we're not supposed to do that anymore.
You know what? I was going to say that. I was going to say hug, and then I thought, no, people will think that's inappropriate these days because we're not supposed to be hugging anybody. But I would.
Gary, we're glad you and your mom weathered the storm successfully, and please make sure and give her our best, okay?
Shall do, sir. Thank you.
You hang on the line, Garry Mac. You sit with us through this quick break. We're back with more of Let's Chat after this.